Frank Luntz, Sanders most likely to win Democratic nomination. Capitalism has become a dirty word for the left. Hope he's right. Lucy hopes he's right too. In an appearance on Fox News on the show Media Buzz, pollster Frank Luntz shares his finding that the term capitalism no longer polls well with the American people. Good. And predicts that Senator Bernie Sanders is the most likely to win the Democratic nomination for president with a message of democratic socialism. Good. It is not that the principles, so here's a quote from this guy. It is not that principles are dead. In fact, the principles of economic freedom are alive and well. That has nothing to do with capitalism, though. But capitalism itself has been so demonized by the media, that's because it's failed. If you want to oppose socialism, you oppose it by talking about freedom, not capitalism. Okay, first of all, the quote-unquote free market we talk about in the United States, it's not free at all. It's just bought up by the highest bidder, and then that highest bidder who buys it up, they get to make the rules. What's free about that? Nothing. There's nothing free about the biggest player in the game buying everything up and then making the rules. Nothing free about that at all. Second of all, the idea of markets and participation in markets is not exclusive to capitalism. Not at all. You can have market-based socialism. Not at all exclusive to capitalism. And that's a way of thinking that we need to break free from this whole idea that, well, because of capitalism, Joe Blow can start a pizza shop if he wants. That's not because of capitalism. That's just because we have markets. Markets are not exclusive to capitalism. I'll say it again. Markets, not exclusive to capitalism. You can have a market where the workers own the means of production, where you have worker co-ops, where you have strong worker rights in place, where you have price ceilings and price floors and wage caps. You can have all that. You can still have markets with all those other things. It's not exclusive to capitalism. Not at all. And capitalism is set up to have a huge gap between the rich and the poor. It's set up to be completely amoral. It's set up. That's why when you see, I saw this report once where they said, oh, capitalism has had the same problems every time it's been tried. Can we find a way to morally, ethically do capitalism? The answer is no, because it's not set up to do that. That's not what it's set up for. It's set up to do the opposite of that. It is amoral. So the answer to that question is just no. Gee, it's had the same results every time it's been implemented. Eventually, it gets completely out of control. That happens every single time. Yeah, because that's what it's set up to do. It's set up to do, hey, those with the most capital make the rules. Gee, what could go wrong? Everything, and everything always does. The same thing happens every single time. Yeah, because that's what it's set up to do. That's exactly what it's set up to do. No protections for the have-nots, and the haves get to make up the rules as they go along. What could possibly go wrong? Besides everything, what could possibly go wrong? You can still be a creative in a world that's not capitalistic. You can still start a business in a world that's not revolving around capitalism. There's nothing free about our quote-unquote free market. All right, let's see what else they talk about in this article. So in an online survey of 1,000 people, 52% of Hillary Clinton voters agree with the statement, I prefer living in a socialist country to a capitalist one. What is this article from? Okay, so this is recent. All right. Somebody tweeted this at me. I thought for a second maybe it was older since they're mentioning Hillary Clinton. All right. Asked about the AOC proposal to impose a 70% tax on the top 1% of taxpayers, 79% of Clinton voters agree, and so do 46% of Trump voters. By the way, that 70% comes at a certain level. It's not 70 overall. That is misleading verbiage in this article. All right. Frank Luntz. All you have to do is read the New York Times, blah, blah, blah. Typically, 7 stories. 6 of those 7s will be hostile to a corporation. That's funny, Frank. Good story. Cool story, bro. Cool story, bro. I'm not going to sit here and say that I spend all my time in the New York Times business section, but I can pretty much guarantee that that statement is not true. That, yeah, it's hostile to all these all the people that pay for the newspaper. It's hostile to all them. You know, everybody that keeps their newspaper afloat, it's hostile to all those organizations. Cool story, Frank. All right, I think we covered it. But let's hope that this projection by Frank is right. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make